This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. Former Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation chairperson Efraim Ginuno has been found guilty of graft by the Sandiganbayan for unlawfully releasing 37.6 million pesos worth of PAGCOR funds to an association training Filipino swimmers. In the Sandiganbayan's 3rd Division's decision dated the 3rd of March, Ginuno along with PAGCOR President Rafael Francisco and former Philippine Sports Commission Chair William Ramirez were found to have violated Republic Act No. 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act for allowing the directly release of funds to the Philippine Amateur Swimming Association in 2019. PASA was training athletes who were slated to compete in the 2012 London Olympics. However, Sandiganbayan said that state prosecutors were able to prove that Ginuno and the other convicted respondents acted in manifest partiality in providing PASA with the funds, as it should have been coursed through the PSC according to the Anti-Graft Court. Ramirez wrote a letter to Ginuno authorizing PAGCOR to deduct from the PSC's legal monthly income share the amounts due to PASA, which goes against Section 26 of Republic Act No. 6847, which established PSC plainly. The direct release of a portion of the PSC's share from PAGCOR to PASA was illegal as it directly contravened the above quoted provision of the law. The decision, penned by 3rd Division Chair and Sandiganbayan Presiding Justice Amparo Capitage-Tang. Sandiganbayan also noted that defense witness Julia Lanto admitted that there was no PSC board resolution that authorized PAGCOR to directly release the funds to PSC. Lanto likewise confirmed that there was no PSC board resolution authorizing PAGCOR to directly release a portion of the PSC's income share from PAGCOR to PASA. It added, the cases against Ginuno was filed by the Office of Ombudsman in 2016, while the former PAGCOR chief was arraigned in 2017. As for Ginuno, Francisco, and Ramirez, a penalty of imprisonment from 6 years and 1 day to a maximum of 10 years was handed down. All three are also disqualified from public office. The governor of Negros Oriental was shot dead Saturday morning by still unidentified assailants at the receiving area inside his home in Barangay Isidro, Pamplona town. Sitan Mayor Fritz Diaz confirmed his death on Saturday afternoon. Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo suffered gunshot wounds on different parts of his body, according to Lieutenant Colonel Gerard Espela, spokesperson of the police regional office in Central Visayas. The initial police investigation showed that Degamo was distributing assistance to beneficiaries of the Pantoid Pamilayang Pilipino program when the assailants suddenly emerged and shot him at 9:36 am. Some civilians who were with Degamo were also wounded. The perpetrators were in full battle gear when they shot the governor several times, Pella said. Degamo and the other victims were rushed to the hospital. Pella said the local police led by Colonel Reynaldo Lizardo, director of Negros Oriental Provincial Police, are conducting a hot pursuit to arrest the perpetrators. The Philippine Army confirmed that the suspects arrested by the police following the ambush slay of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo on Saturday, March 4, are former soldiers who were discharged from the service. Joric Labrador, 50, of Cagayan de Oro City, Jovan Abba, 42, of La Castellana, Negros Oriental, and Benji Rodriguez, 45, of Bonifacio, Misamis Occidental, were arrested by the police and military in a hot pursuit operation in the mountains of Bayonne City, Negros Oriental shortly after the killing of Degamo. A fourth unidentified suspect died in a shootout with the authorities. According to police reports, the arrested suspects are former army soldiers. Notably, they were dishonorably discharged from the military service years back as they did not meet the standards of discipline among our ranks. Colonel Xerxes Trinidad, PA spokesperson, said of the former army soldiers, the PA did not reveal the military units where the suspects served before nor when exactly were they removed from the service and on what grounds. But Police Lieutenant Colonel Gerard Espela, spokesperson of the Central Visayas Police Regional Office, said in a radio interview with DZBB that some of the former soldiers went AWOL while others were involved in an illegal drugs case. Meanwhile, the PA denounced the suspects' unauthorized use of military uniforms, firearms, or insignias in carrying out the attack on the governor. The police earlier said that the gunmen wore military uniforms, bulletproof vests, combat boots and carried long firearms when they stormed the compound where Degamo was residing in Pamplona town. The suspects opened fire at the governor while he was talking with his constituents who are recipients of a social welfare development program. The army strongly condemns this cowardly act of the perpetrators in order to deceive and mislead the authorities and ordinary people, Trinidad said. A regular employee of the Iloilo city government was arrested in a drug-by-bust operation in Zone 1, Barangay Kalampang, Bolo district around 9:10 p.m. on Thursday, March 2nd. The 40-year-old Carlos Caloy Agado, a native of Zamboanga City, was caught after selling to a police poser buyer a plastic sachet of suspected shabu for 6,800 pesos. Police classified him as a high-value individual. The arrest of Agado was carried out by the Special Drug Enforcement Team led by Molo Police Station Officer in Charge, Police Captain Benji Cudison, and the City Drug Enforcement Unit led by Police Lieutenant Colonel Antonio Benitez Jr. A total of 2 grams of suspected shabu valued at around 13,600 pesos were seized, along with a 9mm pistol, 30 pieces of 9mm live ammunition and 2 empty magazine, and a sling bag. The Criminal Investigation and Detection Group conducted its Oplan Paglalansag Omega, which is a campaign against loose firearms in line with the Peace and Security Framework or the M+K+K=K program of the PNP chief, General Rodolfo S. Azure Engineer, that led to the arrest of an ex-Marine on March 5, 2023, at around 3:00 p.m. in Purok Acacia, Barangay Tandayag, Amalan, Negros Oriental. CIDG Acting Director, PBGEN Romeo M. Karamat Jr., identified the suspect as Ricavel S.P. Luces, a 38-year-old dismissed Marine in 2016 and a resident of Hacienda Adela, Brajay, Lantad, Salai City Negros Oriental. Detectives of the CIDG Negros Oriental Provincial Field Unit together with the local police operating units promptly carried out a buy-bust operation that resulted in the arrest of the suspect, who was caught in the act of selling an unlicensed M14 7.62mm with scope and tripod bolt to a police poser buyer. A job order employee of the local government of Rosario Town in Agusan del Sur province was arrested with 2 others during an operation at a drug den on Monday evening. In a statement Tuesday, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency 13 Carago identified the arrested drug suspects as Von Marzo, a job order employee, John Mark Galoran Plaza, the alleged drug den maintainer, and a certain Alvin Dindero. PDEA 13 said the 3 were found inside the drug den by the joint team of PDEA and Rosario police operatives in Purok 6, Barangay Buhisan of the municipality. A drug den is a place where any dangerous drug and or controlled precursor and essential chemical is administered, delivered, stored for illegal purposes, distributed, sold, or used in any form, it said. Shabu items with an estimated street value of 75,000 pesos were seized from the suspects, it said, adding that charges for violation of Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2022 have been filed against them. Criminal charges were filed Tuesday against a Negros Oriental lawmaker in connection with murders which occurred in 2019. The Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group charged 3rd District Rep Onulfo Anitives Jr. and a certain Hannah May, allegedly his secretary, before the Department of Justice. 2 counts of murder were likewise lodged against Richard Quadra alias Boy Quadra, Jasper Tanazan alias Boban Tanson and Rolando Pinley alias Inday, and 1 count of murder against Alex Mayagma. Private counsel Levito Balingad said the testimonies against the respondents were provided by persons whom thieves allegedly paid 50,000 pesos per project. The cases include the killing of Sangguniang Panlaloygan member Miguel Dungog in front of the Silliman University Medical Center in Dumaguete City March 25, 2019. A former agent of the National Bureau of Investigation, Dungog was supposed to seek re-election in the midterm polls that year. 2 more incidents of killings included in the charge sheets were at Sitio Labugan, Basay Town on May 25, 2019 and at Barangay Malabugas, Bayon City June 23, 2019. Teves and his brother, Pride Henry, are also being linked to the assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and 8 others on Saturday. Degamo unseated Pride Henry after the votes of a nuisance candidate, Raul Degamo, was credited in his favor. The Sandiganbayan has sentenced 3 former officials of the government service insurance system to up to 20 years in prison over the grant of 293 million pesos in housing loans to unqualified borrowers. In a 54-page decision promulgated on March 3, the Anti-Graft Court 7th Division found GSIS Tarlac City former Division Chief Celestino Cabalitasan, Former appraiser Mar Victoria Leonardo and former Senior General Insurance Specialist Jerry Balagtas liable for violating Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Also convicted was private land developer Jose de Guzman of JQG Development Corporation. Cabalitazan, Leonardo, Balagtas and de Guzman were perpetually disqualified from holding public office. The 7th Division dismissed the complaint filed against the primary respondent, former GSIS branch manager Armando Innocents, after the Supreme Court granted his petition in 2016, filed by the Office of the Ombudsman in 2012. The case stemmed from the GS's processing and approval of housing loans by 491 borrowers totaling 241.054 million pesos and another set of loans worth 52.107 million pesos of 53 borrowers in October 2001. The Ombudsman said the loans were granted even if the borrowers were not qualified and were not under the territorial jurisdiction of the GSIS Tarlac Field Office. Ombudsman prosecutors said the lots were intended for commercial purposes and that the land and buildings offered as collaterals for the loans were overappraised by 33.243 million pesos. In convicting the 3 former GSIS officials, the Sandiganbayan said the Ombudsman's prosecution panel proved that the respondents approved the loans despite irregularities to give unwarranted benefits to de Guzman. A police lieutenant colonel linked to the killing of a 60-year-old barangay captain has been placed under restrictive custody after voluntarily appearing before authorities. Police Lieutenant Colonel Eunice de Guzman, Calabarzon Police PIO, said the police official appeared before the Chief of Police after receiving orders to report before the Police Personnel and Records Management Office. The chief is talking to him. He will be placed under restrictive custody at the custodial facility of Camp Vicente Lim. Regular filing happened to him. Let's wait for an arrest warrant to be issued, de Guzman told Teleradio. She said the official does not have an assignment since he is undergoing mandatory schooling at the National Police College in Silang, Cavite. Police earlier said they were looking for 5 suspects in the killing of Barangay San Carlos Captain Vivencio Palo, who was gunned down by unidentified assailants while unloading merchandise in his store last February 26. That's all for this week. I'll see you next week with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.